Okay, all right, so welcome back. So I'm gonna miss a couple of students today because they have inevitable situations. So we have, perfect attendance right now. So I'm gonna start. Okay. So in the last time, I just wanna this schedule in this semester, for this class, this made me feel like the discontinuing something, right? Discontinuing something, because we have some, asynchronous classes, several asynchronous classes at the beginning of the semester. So I feel like I am still in the very beginning of this semester with this class. All right. Anyway, we will start. Okay. So in the last time we talked about chapter 1 and 2, right? We talked about strategy management, the definitions and the generic strategies. Okay. So strategy management is long-term plan. Strategy is a long-term plan to achieve competitive advantage. So our goal is competitive advantage. All right, doing better than others. Okay. To achieve this goal, we briefly talk about very important topics, but briefly talk about two generic strategies. Okay, reduce cost, increase product differentiations. Cost leadership strategy, production differentiation strategy. Okay, so reduce cost, increase product differentiations. You increase this gap between this cost and product differentiation. And then if you increase this gap, okay, you have competitive advantage. Okay? This is the central idea of strategy management. Strategy. Okay. All right. So everyone, remember, okay, what we talked about in the last time. Then, based on this understanding, all right, then today we're going to talk about a little bit detail about the environment. All right. Environments. Okay? So we are going to talk about external and internal environment. How to analyze it, okay? How to use it, how to respond it. Okay? So we are going to talk about something like that. Okay? All right. External and internal environments. Very interesting topics. Okay? Very interesting topics. Okay. So at this point, I want to make sure everyone's ready to talk about these topics, interesting topics, very simple and interesting topics. If you are ready, your video, audio, anything, you are ready to start it, please say yes. All right, thank you so much. All right, so I assume that everyone's ready, okay, to talk about this. All right, so external, internal analysis. Okay. All right, we are talking about these two types of environments. Okay, how do you distinguish external and internal environments? So how do you distinguish this external, internal? Okay. Anyone? External, internal. SWOT analysis. Everybody is talking about SWOT. So probably your point is a strength, weakness is internal, opportunity, threats are external, something like that, right? Okay. So how do you distinguish this internal, external? So SW, internal, opportunity, threats are external. Then how? You can talk. You can unmute your microphone or your video. You can talk if you want. Okay, anyone? All right. So Chandler is a pointer, okay, within the form. All right. they can control is, what they control is internal, all right? Then external is uncontrollable, all right? Exactly, okay, exactly. Okay. Think about that. It is not easy to distinguish between external and internal, okay? Like a physical locations, physical something, it's impossible, all right? So within the factory, it is internal. Outside the factory, outside the company building, external. That doesn't make sense. And that's business environment. Okay? So people start to distinguish this with using these concepts. Thank you, Chandra. So if the environment is controllable, we say this is internal. Okay? If it's uncontrollable, we cannot control this, then this environment is external. All right? External, internal. So that is the what's that? The most frequently used way to distinguish this. External, internal. Right? So keep in mind, very simple concept, okay? But if you don't remember this, okay, it's not easy to distinguish external, internal. Okay, it's a big problem. It's a big problem. For example, Everett is talking about SWOT analysis. Okay? So SWOT analysis based on the assumption that you can distinguish external, internal analysis, external, internal environments. But if you cannot distinguish clearly external, internal, okay, it's a big problem to use SWOT analysis. Okay, all right. So please keep in mind, external is uncontrollable, internal is controllable. That's how we distinguish this external and internal. Okay, all right, great. Okay, thank you, Everett and Chandler. Okay, all right then. Okay, capstone simulations. Okay. So I had a chance to look at very carefully your performance in the simulations. Okay. Then I had some general comments. It's a very general comments. Okay. I don't have any team specific comments at this point because it's probably sometime in the future I will provide some team specific comments, but at this time I just want to talk about very general things. Okay. In your simulation, please don't use emergency law. Okay. In this simulation, emergency law means default. All right. So your financing strategy, okay, financing decisions, okay, is very important to avoid this. Okay. Financing decisions cannot be separately done. Okay. Cannot be separately done from other activities. Okay. So finance strategy seems to be easy, but not easy at all. Okay. You should know almost every decisions. Then you have financing strategy decisions. Then you don't have a problem. Okay. All right. So please avoid emergency loan. It's a big cost. Okay. And the second thing is you should know the customer satisfaction of your product. Okay. All right. Sometimes your product is good, but your customer don't understand what it is. Sometimes your customer is too low quality, all right, to satisfy your customers. Both are problematic. Okay. How do you decide? How do you see these situations? See these problems? You should survey customer satisfaction. Okay. Fortunately, this simulation actually provides some information about customer satisfaction. Okay? So even if you don't know where it is, it's a problem now. Okay? You should find it. You should use this information. All right? Customer satisfaction. Please use this information to make better decisions. Okay? And pricing strategy. The last one, pricing strategy. All right? Contribution margin rate. Okay? Contribution margin rate. It should be acceptable. Okay? It should be acceptable. Okay? You don't need to keep low price. If your product is good, then you can keep your price high too. All right? Actually, customers in this game, it's assumed that customers are very rational, okay? Rational. So even you lower your price, okay? Sometimes it doesn't work at all, okay? So please make very reasonable decisions, okay? Based on what the information provided by the simulations. If you don't know where this information is, you should find it. That is your job, okay? That is what we are practicing right now, okay? Finding some informations. Based on these informations, make rational decisions. This is what we are practicing with this caption simulations, okay? So I just want to emphasize these 3 points at this point, okay? All right, and chapter 5 and 6, okay? So next week, we are going to talk about chapter 5 and 6. Okay, chapter 5 and 6. Okay. Then captioning competition round 1 is asynchronous class and March 15th. Okay. For caption simulation for asynchronous classes, so far I always open this video conference room. Okay. I have opened this video conference rooms. Okay. So if anyone has a question or comment on the simulations, just so you can visit, okay? Okay? Then we can talk. But so far, I didn't have any students who visit, okay? In the asynchronous class. So probably I just open, this video conference room for, some beginning of the class hours. Then, I'm gonna close. Okay? If I don't have any visitor. Okay. All right. Any question, comment about our schedule? This schedule is exactly the same as one on the syllabus. Okay? So any question about caption simulations and schedule? So if you don't have it, okay, I'm gonna move. Then this is the distribution of your warm keys. Average is out of 8, 6.82, almost 7, so it's great. But standard deviation is 1.2. That means, all right, this number, I should say, is your distribution is a little bit wider than this course. Okay? So distributions, okay? So some of you are here, then I hopefully, okay, I want you to move this side, okay? Then we have a better performance as a whole group, okay? But you are doing great as a whole, okay? At this point, you're doing great, okay? All right, so let's take the second warm-up keys, chapter 3 and 4. So, please, okay, go ahead and go to Canvas. Okay? I publish chapter 3 and 4 warm-up keys right now. So the quiz is available. And then I'm gonna give you 10 minutes as we did. Okay? 10 minutes was okay. So until 6:16. So 6:26. Okay, so 10 minutes. Please go ahead, go to Canvas and take the quiz. We are going to discuss this quiz as a whole group. Okay, many people done. So please let me know if you need more time. Let me know if you need more time. Okay, then we're gonna start. Okay, so you can keep it if you need more time. So let's talk about that as a whole group. Okay, I just want to say about time. So number one, globalization. Okay, it's a big topic, very controversial topic. Okay, globalization has led to increased entry barriers. True or false? Yeah, it's false, right? Many people say it's false because globalization led to decreased entry barriers. Okay, more and more companies get out and get in. Okay, so globalization is a big topic. Okay, big topic. There are big trends. We should consider in strategy management. Globalization and technology. All right, globalization and technology. Okay? Why do you care about globalization and technology? We talked about that, globalization and technology. Why do we care? Why do you care? Why people, business leaders are crazy about globalization? What potential of globalization and technology? Anyone? Okay, we talked about okay, the generic strategies, right? Reduce cost, increase product differentiations. Then we can create this gap. Okay? Increase this gap. Then it means competitive advantage, right? So doing better than others. This is the generic strategies. The framework we will talk about again and again. Okay. So globalization and technology are also involved with this framework. Right? So usually think about that. Reduce cost, okay? And product differentiations. Okay? And cost, if you reduce cost, what happens to product? The product. If you reduce cost, usually your product, the quality, the differentiation of your product decrease too, right? Because you don't spend less money. You spend less money, then your product probably impacted. Okay? Less quality or less differentiations. If you increase your product differentiations, that means you develop new product. Okay? And what happened? Your cost increased. So cost, product differentiation usually come move. Right? Then the value you create is just same if this commerce. Right? Then globalization, technology, these two trends actually make it possible to reduce cost, increase product differentiations at the same time. Okay, at the same time, increase the gap, the value. Okay, at the same time. Think about that. Technology. Yeah, using some technology, you can reduce cost, and also you make a better product. Right? And globalization too. Right? Outside the box. Yeah. Outside the boundary, border lines. You go to other countries. Then you can reduce cost, okay, and also increase product differentiations. Okay. Right. So many companies are doing this, globalization and product differentiation, because they want to reduce cost, they want to increase product differentiation at the same time, simultaneously. Okay. That's why we care about these two trends, globalization, technology. All right, makes sense? All right, number two. Under the pastel, okay, pastel is general environments, right? So politics, economy, what's the S, societal, what? T, technology, E, ecological, and L, legal. Okay? So PASTEL framework. Okay? So it is a framework for general environment. External economic factors that are important to a firm's trade include inflation and levels of employment. Yes, that's true. These are involved with the external economy. Okay? So PASTEL. Very easy to remember. Okay? So how to use PASTEL? Think about that. Your boss is talking about general environment, managerial environment. Then, he's asking you that, that summed up how our, general environment is. Then, if you use this simple framework, okay, in terms of politics, in terms of economics, in terms of the societal demographics, probably technology was something like, then probably your report, the discussion will be very, very professional. Compared with that situation that you don't have any of this framework. Okay. So many business analysts are using this PASTEL framework to talk about general environments. You can categorize this with this framework, and you can have better, clear mindsets about the general environments for yourself too. Okay. So it's a PASTEL framework. Okay. So this is true. Number 3, it's unwise to initiate strategic moves such as R&D spending during an economic downturn. Please say true or false. All right, false. Yes, Everett says false. Okay, makes sense. Even in an economic downturn, you can spend R&D spending for the next upturn, right? Next turn. So I'm not gonna say like this. It's unwise. No, sometimes it's very, very wise. Okay? Number 4, the structural conduct performance (SCP) model. This model, the idea of this model is very simple. The structure of your market, right? The structure of your market should determine your performance. So, for example, in the monopoly market, you are only competitor, then you have greater performance. All right? You have a great profits. If it is a free market, free competition market, your profit is very small. All right? This is the idea of this SCP model. So it focuses on the structure of the market and your performance. This model states that industry structure influences the price of firm and charge for its product or service. Yes, very true. All right, very true. So your pricing strategy, think about that in your simulations. Okay? Your pricing strategy, if you have a great niche market, then your price will be high. Because you don't have competitors. You don't have strong competitors in the niche market. Then your pricing strategy is what? Set the price high. You have better profits. Okay? So you want to practice this in the simulations. Okay? Based on customer satisfaction, what is the niche market? Where other teams are competing against each other? Then you find the niche market. Based on this market, you make following decisions. Okay? This is exactly what you will do with the simulations. Okay? All right, number 5. Fragmented industries, so many competitors. Okay, many competitors. Fragmented industry structures typically offer high profitability potential. No, it's not. Okay? No, it's not. Okay? So number 4, 5 actually have the same question. It's the same question. Number 6, performance difference that exists between rivals within the same industry are based primarily on the external environment. True or false? Within the same industry are based on primarily on the external. actually these companies within the same industry share the same external environment. So it's false, right? False. So it's false. Okay. All right. So yeah. Number 7. Okay. Number 7. It is intangible resources. Okay. It's about intangible resources. So resources. Resources about internal environment. Internal environment. Okay. So we have talked about external environment so far. Then we paid attention to the internal environment, intangible resources. Okay. We focus on the resources to talk about internal environments. Okay. Number 7. Intangible resources are more likely than tangible resources to help a firm create and sustain competitive advantage. True or false? Very true. Yes, very true. Okay. We talked about that. We talked about that already. Globalization, technology. These are intangible resources, right? Intangible resources. Experiences in the global business. Intangible resources. Technology. Intangible resources. Right? So these resources are much more important compared with tangible resources. Right? Because tangible resources, think about that, is very easily imitated by other companies if there is a competitive advantage. And also, it's done by just, capital, money. If you have money, you can, sell things in many cases. All right. So these days, capital is abundant. Right? There are many financing sources compared with the 100 years ago, 50 years ago. Okay. So the price of capital is getting lower and lower. So tangible resources can be done by capital. Okay? So the price of tangible resources lower. I mean scarcity of tangible resources. Okay, and intangible resources. Very important. Very important. It takes a time to build up. Okay, it's not easy to imitate immediately. So sustainable competitive advantage, intangible resources are very important. Okay, makes sense? Okay, so based on this understanding, all right, intangible resources are very important. Okay? And one assumption, number 8, one assumption made under the resource-based model is that resources do not move easily from firm to firm. Yes, all right, yes. Tangible resources can be transferred very easily, but intangible resources is not easy to transfer because it is built up in human capital, organizational culture, organizational experiences, and routines, or something like that. Okay? So it is not easy. Okay? It's not easy to move from to firm. Okay? So resource-based view is one of the theories to explain what companies are successful, what companies are not, based on the understanding of resource. Basically, resource-based view, this theory asking about your resources 4 questions. Yeah, VRIO. Okay. Your resources are valuable, so rare, difficult to imitate. What is that? Number the last question. Imitatable and what? Well, all right. I don't know. I'm sorry about that, but we're gonna talk about that. Okay. So basically, we are gonna asking 4 questions. Okay. Your resources are this, and your answer is yes. Then you have a competitive advantage. All right. This is resource-based view. All right, resource-based view. Very simple and very strong theory. Okay. So number 8 is true. Number 9. Under the VRIO framework, direct imitation is a bigger threat to a firm's competitive advantage than is a threat of substitution. True or false? False. Yes, it's false. It's false. Because substitution, think about that. Okay? If substitution is done, no more market. So it's a totally gone. So it's a big impact. So it's a false. All right. So any question, comment about the warning keys? So if you don't have any question, comment, I'm gonna move. Okay. So please make sure any question, comment, please say no. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, then I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move to our discussions. Okay, so learning objectives. We already talked about, most topics, okay, we should discuss in this chapter. Pastel, we talked about that, right? We talked about that. And SDP model, structural conduct performance model, we talked about that. Market structure determines performance, your profits. Okay? And five forces model, Porter's five forces model, we didn't talk about it, but it's very famous. So, but we are gonna summarize this. Okay? Then some other, very simple topics. Okay? So we are gonna talk about that. It is very, the obvious and intuitively understandable. So I'm gonna talk about this in my lecture, then you understand. So we are here. External and internal analysis. Okay? External and internal analysis. All right, so today's class activity is, I just prepared this case, the contemporary and the realist. It's a real case, real situation. So we will talk about this. Huh? The oil strategy in case Iran shuts down the Strait of Hormuz. Some of you are familiar with this. Huh? So it happens again and again, all right? Okay. Many times. Okay. Iran pretty often, whenever it has a problem, actually it threats to close close down the Strait of Hormuz. Let's watch this video first. Yeah, it will help.
Iran is threatening to cut off the Strait of Hormuz to the U.S. over a congressman's call to action over that country's treatment of U.S. sailors earlier this year. National security correspondent Jennifer Griffin tonight on the impact closing the strait would have on the U.S.
A senior Revolutionary Guard commander has threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, where 1/3 of the world's oil exports pass each day. And Iran's supreme leader tweeted a cartoon showing his troops kicking the U.S. Navy out of the Gulf.
They come here from the other side of the globe and stage war games. What are you doing here? Go back to the Bay of Pigs. Go and hold exercises there. What are you doing in the Persian Gulf? The Persian Gulf is our home.
The threats followed the high seas capture of 10 U.S. Navy sailors in January. The Iranian captors released video of the U.S. sailors crying. Republican Congressman Randy Forbes of Virginia of the House Armed Services Committee has submitted legislation to punish Iran after learning classified details of the humiliation that U.S. sailors
All right, okay. So you understand these situations. Actually, you're familiar with this situation. It happens almost, 5 years, almost every 5 years, 10 years, something like that. So this is the map. This is the map. This is Iran. This is Iraq. This is Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, and UAE, Oman. Most oil produced countries. And this is a strait of Hormuz. Yeah, very close, very narrow. So Iran closed down this, and then all the oils produced here cannot go outside. Okay? It should go this way, but it's closed. Okay? All the oils cannot go this way. Okay? So trucking is too expensive. It's not realistic solution. Okay? So they have to use this seaway, but it is closed. It's a big problem to produce, to export these oils produced here in this area. Okay, so in this case, so this Strait of Hormuz is closed. Then what happened? Okay. How do we, as a business leader, societal leader, and opinion leaders, how do we respond to this? Okay, what should I do? Okay, as a manager, okay? As a leader. Okay, so pick up any industry, okay, with your team. Pick up any industry, all right? Any industry. Then just simply, briefly analyze what you're gonna do. Okay, what are you gonna do? Pick up any industry, a company in any industry, then analyze, okay, discuss, okay, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Okay. So let's talk about that. And then we want to share, okay, what you have discussed, okay, as a whole group. So for your discussions, I'm gonna make breakout rooms. Okay? I need the 4 rooms. And what was it? It's up 15 minutes. Was it 10 minutes in the last time? 10 minutes? Okay, let's try 10 minutes. Okay. So 10 minutes. You want to discuss what are you going to do with this external environmental change, environmental shock. Okay, please go ahead, join with your team and discuss this.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Hello.
Okay, welcome back. All right, great. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, 10 minutes was okay? Okay, great. All right, let's talk about the case. Okay, so your discussions. Okay, so pick up an industry, then what are you gonna do? Okay, so any team wanna go first? Please share your discussions with us. All right.
We
Go
were
ahead.
team 4, and we kind of said we were wanting to get into the big box industry, so kind of like a Target or a Walmart.
Okay.
And I think one of our biggest things that we said we would do is because the prices of gas would be so high and freight would get so expensive, maybe then would be the time to invest in drones or other forms of delivery for our freight that don't rely on gas.
Okay, good, good. Okay. So probably to reduce gas, some delivery method will be developed. Okay. So you want to do that, right? So it's good. That's good. Okay. So it can be strategy. Okay. It can be a technology strategy. So it's good. Good. Good suggestion. Okay. Any other team? All right. So team 4 is about drone. Okay. To reduce cost. Okay. To develop the technology. All right. Other teams.
So we kind of went in a similar vein. I was thinking about the food industry. That's where my dad works. He does distribution for, he's done distribution for like Starbucks and Papa John's and places like that. And, you know, they rely heavily on gasoline to get their distribution through everywhere. So we kind of went very similarly where we were like, you know, electric, they might have to turn to electric vehicles, like, you know, getting a Tesla engine in a bigger semi truck, an 18-wheeler or 16-wheeler. But yeah, turning to that alternative energy, which would be a big upfront cost, but would save them in the end.
Okay, great. It makes a great sense. Right? So the oil price will go up. So to respond to this, we're gonna use electric vehicles rather than gas. Okay. Upfront cost is expensive, but we will do. Okay. So it makes a great sense. Okay, why not? Okay. If you can do it, you can try. Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much. And other teams. What industry?
I guess our group did something very similar. We chose FedEx, or I guess the transportation industry is heavily involved there. So we had two parts to our plan. The first was similarly switching to hybrid and electric vehicles, which would be less gas money. And the second part of it was forming an agreement with Tesla to partner up with Tesla themselves, and that could be really beneficial going forward with all of the electric vehicles.
All right, it makes sense. Yes. Okay, very similar. Okay, to reduce costs, okay, you can use more electric vehicles. Also, you can use the some other strategy, something like a pricing strategy, price discrimination. in the big cities, like your gasoline, your gas, cost is, it's efficient, right? Because you have multiple delivery points, and very closely. So actually, you can discriminate the price in this area and other areas, okay? Something like a rural areas. Okay? I'm not sure it will work or not, but we can think of some other strategies too. Okay? So using electric vehicle and using price discrimination strategy and using some other strategies, then we can think of many strategies in this perspective. Okay, great. And we have one more team, right? Okay, just did it. We have one more team. Which team? Please go ahead. Team 3, I guess. Team 3, please share your discussions with us. Team 3, anyone in Team 3?
Yeah, so our team, I think we misunderstood the directions. And so we were actually thinking about the industry that was being affected directly by Iran shutting down the strait.
Mm-hmm.
And so we actually talked about two different options. One, either connecting with the country right south, the United Arab Emirates, and seeing if they would allow passage over land.
Okay.
And then the other option was more political, to either get the either U.S. or United Nations involved, to be able to go the political route to open the strait back up, because that would benefit the U.S. industries as well.
Okay, I see your points. Okay, so actually we can think this way, all right? We can think of this way. So trucking industry, think about that, all right? So you are the boss of trucking industry, okay? Then we have some terminals around here, okay? Truck terminals. Then some oils from here, okay? It's a trucking until here and here. Okay? So we can collect some oils here, okay? And move, transfer here. Then we can go outside. I see that. Okay? That can be one, option. It is still expensive, very expensive. Okay, but it can be just one option. Okay, so using lands, okay, can be one option, and also we can, exert some political, lobbying or whatever. Okay, but it is still uncontrollable. All right, it is still uncontrollable. So it's an external environment. Good. All right, look at your discussions. Okay, look at your discussions. Most industries, not just, a few industries. Actually, most industries will be influenced by, impacted by this event. A single environmental change, external environmental change. Okay. The other side of the world, the other side of the globe, I want to do something, but my business is impacted heavily. Okay. This is an external environment. You should conceive. So even if it happens in the other side of the globe, okay, you should respond proactively. That is your job. Okay. So that is the point. This point of this class activity. Okay. So external environment can be accepted as a coercive factor. We should take it because it's uncontrollable. It's not controllable. Okay? Then we should respond proactively. Right? So that's why we are talking about external environment in this chapter. Okay? Pandemic. So we are talking about a little bit, about the situation in the last January. Okay? Last January. In the last January, okay, many Americans, many people actually in the world, didn't take it seriously, the COVID-19 virus. Okay? But I was talking about very seriously, okay, in the January in the last year. So I talked with the students in the classroom. Okay? We should respond proactively, like wearing masks and social distancing, and even I was talking about closing classes, in-person classes, as soon as possible, then transit to the online classes. I talked about the possibility too in the January, okay? And then students was laughing about it, okay? They didn't, think about the possibility at all. Okay? It's a very college, okay? They do not close. Okay? That was, first impression from the students. Then in the last March, actually, I did my first online class. Okay? I did. And traditions. Okay? So I didn't have any knowledge about pandemic, virus, or something like that. I was good at reading some newspapers coming from Asian countries, some other countries. Okay? Right? I just transferred that news, that perspective. Okay? Right? This is a proactively response. This is a good example, I guess. Okay? So I'm not gonna show off anything. Okay? But this is the job of business leader, societal leader, opinion leaders. Okay? You should consider some environmental change. Okay? Then you should respond proactively, even it happens the other side of the world. Okay? So that is the point of this class activity. Okay? So it's very clear, it's obvious. Example. Any question? So I want to move a very simple lecture. Okay, I'm not gonna cover every details of the chapter. I just want to emphasize some points, a few points. That's it. That is the purpose of my lecture. All right. So pastel. Okay, we talked about that. Political, economic, social, cultural, technological, ecological, legal. All right. Pastel. Okay? This is categories. Okay? So when you generalize, when you analyze the general environment, you use these categories, pastel. Okay? All right, political, economic, I'm not going to replicate, all right, each variables. You just read it, okay? Then you can intuitively understand them. All right, ecological and legal. And SCP model, structure determine your performance. That means structure determine your profit. Okay? Yeah. All right, monopoly is good for your profit, but it's not good for society. All right, oligopoly of few companies, and your profit is still high. Okay? And monopolistic competition, many firms but differentiated products. Okay, so there are many examples. And perfect competition, low profit. Okay, so low to high. Okay? So this market structure determines your profit. Something like this: high profit, low profit. Okay, high profit, low profit. Okay. All right, then 5-4-6 model, Porter's 5-4-6 model. Okay? So this is 5-4-6 model. All right, how to use this? How to use this? So 5-4-6, threat of new entrant, and bargaining power of suppliers and buyers, and rivalry and substitutions. Okay. All right. So the main points of this theory is each force determines your profit, okay, in your industry. So it is very interesting. It is very simple. And the beauty of this model is, look at this, threat of new entrant is high, your profit is low. Okay? And threat of substitution, high, your profit low. Bargaining power of suppliers and buyers, high, your profit low. And rivalry, high, your profit low. So each of 5 forces, high, then your profit low. Okay, this is how to use this model. All right, very simple. All right, very straightforward. This is why many people use this model. Any of 5 forces, high, and your profit low. Okay, and not many people understand these things. Actually, they know Porter's 5 forces model, but why they use it? Because each one of this high, your profit low. Okay, so you should understand the main point of this Porter's 5 forces model. All right, I'm not going to replicate each 5 forces, but you can read it, then you can understand it. Okay. All right, then industry dynamic. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this. External environment. Okay, if it is static, okay, we don't have many things to do with this. Okay, but usually in many industries, external environments are changing, dynamic. It's not static. Okay, so these dynamics environments, how can we be consistent with these changes? Okay. How can we be consistent with these changes? Very simply speaking, we can monitor, we can analyze, we can implement the changes, respond. Okay. So these are ideas. Okay. And it is unfortunate that dynamic capabilities. Okay, your textbook is great book, good book, but it doesn't enough. It is not enough to emphasize dynamic capabilities. Okay? So dynamic capabilities are these things: how to respond to this industry dynamics, how to monitor, analyze, and respond. Okay? So some firms are doing good this, some firms are not good. Okay, this determines the firm performance. Okay, so this is industry dynamics and dynamics capabilities. Okay? So if a firm has high dynamic capabilities, that means this firm can very good at monitoring, analyzing, responding to industry dynamics. Then it has a sustainable competitive advantage. Okay? If it's not good at, it has low dynamic capabilities, it won't survive. Okay, so this is a simple theory, dynamic capabilities. And this chapter is containing strategic groups. Strategic groups is a very simple concept. Okay? It's very simple concepts. A group of firms, a group of corporations, firms, companies, they share very similar strategy. These are strategic groups. These are strategic groups. Okay? All right, look at this. All right. So this analysis, price, charge, price, and rules, service, the wider, okay? The wider route, okay? So very wide rules, okay? Many rules, and high price. So many routes and medium price, United Airlines, Delta, American Airlines, actually these companies use very similar strategy. So these are strategic group, all right? So these are strategic group, okay? And some of these companies, okay, most companies in this area share the similar strategies too, right? So these are strategic group, right? Then we say this is a mobility variable. Okay? This is the concept of strategic groups. Okay? All right, that's pretty much about chapter 3, external environments. So we're done. Okay, we're done. Any question, comment so far? All right. No. Okay. So please say no if you don't have any question, comment. I just want to make sure. All right. So many people say no. So I assume that you don't have any more question, comment on this topic. So we want to move to the next topic, internal environment, internal analysis. But before moving on, I'm gonna take 5 minutes break. Is it okay? 5 minutes break. Okay. All right, 5 minutes break. So we wanna meet 7:15, so 23. Okay. 7:23. Okay. So I'll see you on 7:23. 5 minutes break. Okay. I'm gonna see you again. I need some water. Toll. Okay, it's not good. It's not good. Yeah, it could have been worse. So actually, it's better, it's better just thinking, you're lucky. All right. Okay. So 5 minutes break. We are continue. So we are continue. Chapter 4, internal analysis. Internal analysis. So everyone's ready? So we are doing sample, some simple lecture today. Then we're done. Okay? So it won't take a long time. All right. So Ryan has a dog, and the dog fell down. So she had a problem. Okay. All right. So medical things are always serious. Okay. All right. So everyone's ready? Can I start? Okay. Please say yes to make sure. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So let's talk about internal analysis. This chapter is very, very simple. This chapter is all about resource. Okay? So all about resource a firm has, you have. Okay? The resource you have. Okay? The main idea of this chapter is if you have a better resource, you have better performance. Okay? So we are talking about resource. And resource, based on this understanding, we want to talk about resource-based view. Resource-based view. Okay? VRIO framework. Okay. Then some other very simple concepts like a SWOT. So let's talk about that. Again, I'm not going to cover every details of this. Okay. All right. I'm just emphasize some points. Okay. Core competencies. Okay. Core competencies. This is very important. Right. Before analyzing anything, okay, you should know what are the core competencies for you, your company, okay, your firm. Because you should develop this core competencies around your existing core competencies. Okay? And if you don't know core competencies, you should do something not actually involved with your performance. For example, Coca-Cola. Think about that. Coca-Cola, the leading company, very, very interesting and very strong company. And many experiments, interestingly, many experiments, blind tasting experiments show that actually customers do not tell the taste of Coca-Cola from other brands, like a Pepsi, BK, or some other brands. Okay. Got it? Many customers, most customers actually they do not tell the taste of Coca-Cola from other brands, the ones of other brands. Actually, I can do it, that experiment. Then I did several experiments, exactly same experiment. Then I got the consistent result. Actually, my students couldn't tell the taste of Coca-Cola from those of other brands. Okay? So this experiment says, okay, all right, then the taste of black water is not the core competencies for Coca-Cola because customers cannot tell. They cannot tell. Then what core competencies? And then we can think their core competencies are different things. Probably they are bottling, distribution channels, advertising, and memories, and there are many potential core competencies. Okay? So Coca-Cola, if they want to have a better strategy, they should understand this experience. Okay? The black water itself, okay, is not a core competencies because customers cannot distinguish from those of other brands. Okay? Then they need to find core competencies, what the core competencies are. Then, based on this understanding, they can build up their strategy. They can build up their resources. They can build up their competitive advantage. All right? That's why I emphasize core competencies. In your job too. Okay? You should understand what core competencies are in your job. What process, what steps of value chain actually create competitive advantage. Okay? You should understand this first. Then you can set up your strategy. That's why emphasize core competencies here. Okay? All right, inside the firm, internal analysis, research. It's all about research. Okay? Inside the firm, all about research. So research is controllable. That's why we say inside, internal environment. Okay? All right, so combination of resource and capabilities. This determines your performance. Okay. Then look at this. Research, capabilities combined with core competencies, and core competencies leverage firm activities and competitive advantage. And if you're doing good, sustainable competitive advantage, barrier from performance. Okay, very straightforward. So it's all about resource. Capabilities, it can be understood as a resources too. All right, it's a different name, but it is a resources too. Okay. All right. Then, based on this understanding, okay, resource determines your performance. Then, the next question is very simple, right? Straightforward. What resource? What kind of resources determine performance? Okay? So, resource determine the performance. Then, what types of resources? There are many types of resources, many kinds of resources. Okay? So, tangible, intangible, probably intangible resources are much more important, okay, these days. Because we talked about that. Globalization, technology, all of these are about intangible resources, right? Intangible resources, experiences of globalization, right? And development of technology. These are intangible resources, right? Intangible resources. Okay? So intangible resources are getting more and more important these days. Okay? All right, then resource-based view, VRIO framework. So this theory, VRIO framework, resource-based view theory, is simply asking 4 questions to identify the resources you need. Is it valuable, rare, costly, difficult to imitate, or organized to capture? Okay, organized to capture. All right. If difficult to capture, difficult to organize, okay? If you answer, okay, my resource is valuable, rare, difficult to imitate, difficult to organize, then you have sustainable competitive advantage. Okay? This is the framework of VRIO. Look at this. Okay, so you have a resource. Your resource are valuable, rare, costly to imitate, difficult to organize. Then yes, and you have sustained competitive advantage. Okay? Valuable? No. Then your company is not good. Rare, competitive parity, and no, temporary competitive advantage, and temporary competitive advantage. Right? This is the central idea of this resource-based view. If you understand this, done. Done. So, how to sustain competitive advantage? You should have valuable, rare, costly to imitate, and costly to organize resources. Then you're fine. So far, so good. Okay, thank you so much. All right, thank you, Carson, Ryan, Everett. Okay. And value chains. So I just want to talk about, all right? I just want to talk about some concepts, but it's very easy, all right? So value chain means some steps in your activity, business activities, okay? Steps, process. We say a business is a process because business has many steps. Process means many steps, okay? And these steps, some steps are primary, some steps are support. Look at this, okay? Primary and support. So primary activities and support activities. How do you distinguish this? Okay. Sometimes it's not easy, but in the practical sense, we can say this: primary activities are directly involved with the flow of raw materials. So you just track the flow of raw materials, and some activities are involved with this. Then it is a primary activities. So look at this: inbound raw materials. And goods and components, raw materials too. Final assembly, raw materials. Marketing, sales, raw materials. Customer service. This is just flow of raw materials. So these are primary activities. And support activities, these are not directly involved with this flow of raw materials. Okay? Then you can distinguish these two types of value chain activities. Why do you care about value chain? Because I want to analyze which step, what step actually creates value. Then you can focus on that one. Okay? Or if we need another step to create value, then we can develop this step. So we want to understand, all right, this process. Then we have better chance to have competitive advantage, better results. Okay. All right. Then dynamic strategy activity system. This is about dynamic capabilities. Okay, dynamic capabilities perspective. So we have good understanding about external and internal environments now. Then the problem is, think about it. We have a strategy, right, to implement. But the problem is that these environments are changing, like external environments. For example, Iran's case. Sometimes okay, but sometimes it's very critical, right? It's changing. So how do you respond to this? Right? How to monitor and analyze and respond. We talked about that, dynamic capabilities. Right? So dynamic capabilities are, simply speaking, if you are good at to be consistent with this environment change, you have a sustainable competitive advantage. This is the central idea of dynamic capability theory. Okay? All right, so dynamic capabilities are intangible resource again. Okay? All right. So, you can, just read this, then you don't have any problem to this. Okay, how to protect a competitive advantage. Better expectation of future values, past dependence, causal ambiguity, social complexity. You can read this, then you will understand easily. So I'm not going to replicate this. All right, the last one, SWOT. SWOT. Everyone knows SWOT, okay? Because many people use this. Very simple but strong tool, okay? So I'm not going to talk about the details of SWOT, okay? Strength, weakness, just internal. Okay? Opportunity, threat, external. Okay? The problem of this beautiful tool is it's too simple. Many people understand this tool very well. So if you have any mistake to use this tool, your analysis, actually your credibility will decrease drastically. For example, SWOT, strength, weakness, internal, controllable, opportunity threats, uncontrollable, external. You cannot confuse this. Okay? So if you put something, controllable in opportunity or threats, and people read your analysis, then find it, then oh, this guy doesn't understand the internal external things. Okay, then how can we trust this guy? If I'm an investor, probably I'm gonna think in that way. Okay, so please don't confuse internal and external. Many people confused about that. Okay, in the reality, in the business plans, Probably I talked about this. I was working for the venture capital company. I was the venture capitalist. Then I reviewed, many 10 to 20 business plans every day. Okay? Then only one or two can be selected to have the interviews. But when I review the business plans, okay, it has beautiful. Most actually companies have beautiful founding teams. Okay, for venture capitalists. And then actually, if these guys confused with this internal external, they cannot distinguish internal external things. Then what I'm gonna do? I'm sorry, I just reject. That's it. Okay, because I have many investment alternatives, many investment opportunities. Okay, very competitive. Okay, for applicants. Okay? In the this market, venture capital market. Okay? So please don't confuse it. Internal, external. Okay, if you control it, this is internal. If you cannot control, external. Okay. All right. Then SWOT done. So this is pretty much about chapter 4. So we talk about external things. Okay. General external environments. Pastel. Okay? And some other topics. And internal things. Resource-based data. Okay. We talk about these topics. Yeah. So far. All right. So my simple lecture is done. So far, so good. Any question, comment about chapter 4, chapter 3 and 4? Any question, comment you want to discuss? For now? Okay, please type no if you don't have any other question, comment. I just want to make sure everyone is in the same boat. Okay, all right, great. Okay, so we done chapter 3 and 4. So next time we gonna talk about chapter 5 and 6. Very important topics. Okay, chapter 5 and 6. Next week is a synchronous class. So we gonna meet to talk about chapter 5 and 6. Okay. Today you did a great job. Okay. So I love your discussions. I love your ideas. Okay. Then thank you for your participation in the discussions. Okay. Keep up the good work. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Then I will see you on Monday, next week. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. See you next week. Okay, great.